How you doing, sir?
What up, fam? How are you?
I'm great. I'm great, man. Another Friday. We finally got some new music, man. We're getting everybody into the room because we're gonna be
Finally.
finally, man. 2021 has been very dry with music, but you know what? We've been able to still get some content popping and still get people, you know, still be able to talk about something. You know what I'm saying?
So, can I complain right quick?
Go ahead.
I, Making like the catalog and like list and all that is fun, but it makes you have to listen to like a whole lot more music
Mm-hmm.
than maybe you want to. So it's fun to just get a three-track EP.
Yeah, even
Very
though it's a
nice.
three-track EP, and we talked about this earlier, we welcoming everybody into the room. We talking about Drake's new "Scary Hours" too.
I
Even,
see you being shady on social media too with your post, Mike.
I mean, look,
I saw,
even though we're only
I
talking,
saw that. I saw that. I knew who you were talking about. It's like you want to know what I'm off social media for a minute. I was like, I already know it's about to be a petty show.
listen. Shout out to everybody coming in the room. People saying they received a notification. Shout out to you, Lisa Winter. Shout out to Nate Hill. He said, "What's good, fellas? What's good, man?"
What
All
up,
right, so what was your
everybody?
first?
Blessings.
Yes. What was your first impression of this new Drake project? Straight up.
No. You first. You
Me
first.
first? All right, me first.
Yeah, you first.
I mean, all right, this let me dial back. You text me, I want to say it might have been like 12:30 midnight or a little bit past midnight
Oh no,
last night.
hold on. No. Let's backtrack. You actually sent me a message earlier in the day about it,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna tell you what happened. We both forgot because the homie Sherm hit me up on the thread with Matt and them in the Yardies at about 12:15 with it, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot. Because here's the reality of the matter. He hadn't really been making hot shit like that. We really wasn't staying up to check for.
Mm.
Sherm plugged me into it. I went through it. Look, because go ahead, your turn.
Okay. I can already tell, you know what I'm saying, Lemon Pepper's probably your favorite on there, right? The Lemon Pepper freestyle.
Easy.
Easy. A lot of people in the room. Jay the writer said redundant. Lemon pepper is fire though. All right, I
What
feel you,
I
Jay,
say.
and I
Lemon
think that's
pepper's
every.
fire.
Listen, Rick Ross is very very consistent. It is what it is. But I do think that. Man, I don't like when people get to the point in their careers where everything that you're rapping about or singing about, it happened to Michael Jackson too, is talking about how famous you are. I think that the three-track EP sounds very uninspired. I think Lemon Pepper is what it is on a consistent level because everything that we hear Rick Ross on is pretty consistent. Even the Busta Rhymes record that Rick Ross is on just sounds like Rick Ross's world. I mean, we even last year we named Rick Ross like featured artist of the year because he brings the best out of everybody when he's on a record. I feel like the Lil Baby record, Lil Baby did his thing, but the record sounds uninspired too. Like I don't know if I'm a fan of a three-track EP where you got two major features on, out of the three songs. So I guess I'm judging this on a level of a guy who's supposed to be on top of the game. I don't feel like he's on top of the game. I wasn't really impressed by it altogether. Lemon Pepper's dope, but again, I expect a Ross feature to be dope. We seen that with Freddie Gibbs. We seen that, like I said, with Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
Yeah, with
He smashed
everybody.
everybody.
Like, how do you make a
Yeah.
bad song with Ross anyway? So, I'm not really super impressed by Lemon Pepper like that. It's just another day at the office for Ross. This is more about Drake. And I think content wise, I mean, okay, you're huge. You can't walk out the house. You got money. I didn't get anything from it. What do you say?
I mean, Mike, you went in so many different directions. What part of it do you want me to unpack first? You want me to unpack like the actual music, like the actual three songs? Do we want to talk about the actual three songs of music? Like where do you want me to go? Like,
You know what? Before you get into
I
that,
knew this show was gonna be petty from that Facebook post. Like, I was like, oh yeah, real petty
Before we
today.
get into that,
Yeah.
the yearbook that Coop and I have been talking about for a minute, it is here. I have copies right here, so you guys can go on
Yeah.
Amazon and go ahead and you know get that 2020 yearbook. We'll talk about that a little bit more after you talk about your feelings on it. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and put the link to the yearbook in the chat too, so people can get to it.
Okay, that's cool. Musically speaking, I was impressed, and you know I'm not a big fan of his. I do respect him as an artist and as an MC. So let's talk about where he is in his career first musically. He hasn't made a lot of good music lately. Correct?
I would agree with that as a whole. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Tootsie Slide or even God's Plan is a hip hop classic. No.
Yeah, that shit don't slap at all. Okay.
Yeah.
This slaps, Mike. It's not classic Drake, but it's just like I tell people, like, if you keep waiting on guys who at their peak were, you know, the best or arguably the best ever what they do, if you're expecting that from them in like year, you know, 13, 14, like, no. And so for what it is, it's really quality music. It's the best shit that he's done in a while, Mike. I think people have the expectations of the fact that he is probably the biggest hook writer in the history of hip hop, and thereby probably its biggest hit maker ever. And so these records don't equate necessarily hit wise. Because I mean, even though Lemon Pepper slaps, it's not going to go down as a classic single like a Diced Pineapples or Aston Martin Music is.
Right.
But musically, Mike, I mean, when has he ever been more in depth or personal or more versatile as an MC than he is on Lemon Pepper? That might be the best verse of his career. It's definitely the most introspective and fluid at the same time.
Well, you said that's the best verse of Drake's career?
I said arguably.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Like, it's up there. I mean, he's had some moments, but when I look back at it, it's like, yo, when has he ever just riffed on a track for like 3-4 minutes and like really like slapped at it like on some rap shit?
Yo, people are killing you about your top 5 comment though.
0 to 100 comes to mind, and Miss Me with Wayne comes to mind.
Well, all right. And, can you address
the verse Forever?
Okay. I was gonna say Lord Knows and stuff like that. Now, can you address your top 5 comment? Because people are like, top 5 and what? Top 5?
Top 5 what? Of what?
I think you said. Did you say Ross was top 5? Ross in top 5 anyway. I think that's somebody in the chat that said that. I apologize.
Yeah. I'm about to say no. I mean, I said that Drake is the best hook writer in the history of rap because he is.
Is he?
I mean, the hit records reflect it, Mike. It's just like it's ridiculous and you can't ignore it. Yeah, he's the best hook man ever.
Okay.
And that's what I mean about sometimes the expectations are not realistic for these songs because we're expecting him to make these epic smashes, and it's like no. He's kind of already expired. That it takes longer to make records like that. When somebody said the material is redundant, his material's been redundant like since album number 2 or 3. It's just the effect hadn't worn on you yet. He's not talking about anything different outside of his personal life with his son, you know, that he really wasn't talking about from day one. So the material's been redundant. He's just been performing at a high level hit-wise. And so, you were talking about it's an EP that has 2 features. Well, yeah, he's going to need more help now. He's not in his prime anymore necessarily, per se, as a hit maker.
Well,
like, this happened.
When is the last? Go ahead.
Like, this happened to LL. Do you remember when LL, like, went and did the album with, like, Timbaland?
Is he at that point now?
Yes.
I think that point with LL was probably Phenomenon.
Yeah, that's Phenomenon. Headsprung. Yeah.
Nah, Headsprung was in the 2000s. Phenomenon was 97. That was the one with 4321 on it. And I think at that point, you know,
I'm talking about the one with Headsprung.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. He was respectfully, he was looking washed there. And I love LL. And don't beat me up, LL, but I'm just keeping it real. That wasn't one of the strongest points of LL's career. But see, he's had those moments like Shots to the Dome, and then was able to come back. And do you see Drake being able to come through with a project that's super impressive, or is it done?
I'm not talking about on the level of him being washed. When I heard LL do Headsprung, I heard somebody that finally realized that he needed a different kind of help than even the help that he was getting. And so when you're hearing Little Baby on the track with Drake, that's what I'm saying. Oh, that's different because actually, I mean, Mike, who's snapping on that track? Like Baby Snap,
Yeah.
like because he's really the man right now. He's really the star right now. The track and the record even reflected it, and I think even Drake knows it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with collabing with these guys and making great records with the guys who are coming up, who are hot, that are doing the same thing that you were doing 10 years prior. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with aging gracefully. Like, isn't that what we've been watching Jay and Nas and Snoop do?
Yeah. I mean, but again, I think that at this point, all right, we're talking about being super famous. Well, I'm talking about that part of it and still being able to come with relatable material. Do you remember when Jay was at the top of the game during the Blueprint time? I mean, we were still able to get a record like Song Cry. And you know, it's not, it doesn't always have to be about being famous, but I will say this. I do think that for Drake, this huge fortress, I guess you would say, of a home that he's in, and with the quarantine and all of that, he's just in his house. I mean, even the Tootsie Slide and all that was just in that confined space. When you're not really out there living life like that, what is there to talk about, right?
Well, no, not even that. I mean, but here's what I'm saying, Mike. He been not really saying too much. Like his raps have been about him being famous, him being rich, him living a certain lifestyle. So it's like when somebody's saying the material is redundant, it's like, where you been the past decade? Like, he ain't been really talking about nothing different.
So what's he gonna rap about, George Floyd or something?
That's what I mean. It's like he's not the guy that you would go to for that. Or and you wouldn't necessarily be that believable if he were to do it. Like, remember when Luda tried to like kind of get serious and it really hurt his career?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that.
People didn't want to hear that from Luda, even though he was a dope MC and could deliver the message. And the records were actually quality records inherently. Niggas just didn't want to hear that from Luda. He had already crafted out a certain persona. Drake's persona is that he is the biggest hit machine of all the hit machines in hip hop. And so what our ears are looking for is this a smash? Is this going to put our summer on smash? You know?
James Dotson said, what do you expect Drake to talk about? I think that, you know, if we be honest, like...
Never talked about much, Mike.
Well, I would say, like, on So Far Gone, people were able to relate to him on a level. I think on Take Care, people were able to relate to him on a level. I think that when you talk about relatability, and
when did those albums come out again?
It was a while ago.
That's my point. That's my point.
When all right, let's just say it like this. What's the last?
About a decade ago, wasn't it? Didn't Take Care come out like 2011?
Yeah, it was something like that.
So that's 10 years ago, Mike. So the relatability been gone. That's what I'm saying. If you're talking about,
but the relatability isn't. I mean, the relatability was on some common man type stuff. It wasn't on some.
You want to know what one of my favorite songs of his is? It's Successful, because it was him being the pop star or R&B-ish singer star that he was, but still being personable and relatable as a hip-hop artist. I'm telling you, that guy been gone.
But you know who does well with that? And probably who hasn't done well with that lately? And I hate to continue to bring out the elephant in the room, but Kanye West has been able to deal with fame and be relatable. And he's lost a lot of that relatability, but he...
Hold on, Mike, back up. No. Kanye stopped being relatable so fucking long ago, Mike. Like Kanye stopped being relatable like around Watch the Throne-ish. Like, if you really follow him peeping game. Like, nah, he been gone, fam.
I think the last time that people really, really related with Kanye on that level, I would say, was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But you're right. Watch the Throne was a little bit after that.
2012. That's 2012.
Let me ask James Dotson and everybody else in the room, what is the last Drake song that you really liked? Or what is the last Drake project as a whole that you really liked where it was just him? You know? I mean, it's... How
about this? Lemon Pepper, to me, is the most introspective that I've heard him be on a track that's still kind of fun and nimble, like, since Successful. Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. He stopped doing that a long time ago. And this is what I mean. When you get in the lane and you don't carve out other niches in your lane,
Yeah.
it can hurt you on the back end of your career. And so part of the reason why you find him being more introspective on that track is because the ability to make hits isn't there like it used to be, but this gives credence to something too. He's a better rapper than heads give him credit for. That snap on Lemon Pepper isn't like what an average MC does. And so he needs to be respected as above average MC. And since we're talking about Kanye, I actually thought today, him and Kanye actually kind of suffer from the same thing. It's kind of problematic in the same way. Oh, it's not that you're not a dope rapper. It's that we know that you do something better. As in, we know
what is that
Kanye,
he does better? Exactly.
I mean, this is what I mean. He is much better as the hook man and the hook writer than he is as the lead artist. If you look at how many hits that he has where he's not singing the hook, it's not as many hits, Mike.
Well, let me get to the chat room real quick.
Let me say, and in Kanye's place, it's like, no, you're a great rapper. You're just like one of the best producers ever, not one of the best rappers ever. So,
well, people were answering the question. They said, well, Jay, the writer, says the Views from the Six was the last Drake project he loved. James Dotson said what you said. He said to Meek this. He said back to back.
Back to back. That's what we were talking about behind the scenes. Yeah. We felt like back to back was the last shit that he made that really slapped. Views from the Six was not, no.
Yeah, Maybe. Alex Caldwell said Take Care by far is his best album. I think it's a classic. Jay says that Life of Pablo is fire.
If you're reading this is too late, did they say If You're Reading This Too Late was his best album?
No, people are saying that Take Care is his best album. Paris Evans said Nothing Was the Same. I think people are all over the board when it comes to him and his best project in totality. I think my favorite one is definitely If You're Reading This It's Too Late, and I think that the reason why if you're reading this it's too late doesn't get the fanfare it gets is because of that ghostwriting situation with Quentin Miller that Meek Mill kind of blew up, because those songs were hitting, and that was really the last time that
That's his best work for me.
That's my favorite work from him, and I'm not a huge Drake fan like that.
Me neither.
Yes. But Dana Johnson says, you can't be relatable when you're not writing your own shit. I said what I said. Speaking of which, check out this hoodie that, my girl did.
No,
Black women art there.
No, Mike. You know how I feel about supporting black business anyway. Tell the queen to get me a shirt. I like everything all black, but since the woman on it is black, she can hit me off with like a royal blue or a green or a gray. Like, I'm with the money though, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Drake Patton says that Drake's project is trash. All right, let's
That's very disrespectful. He tried very hard.
All right, the thing about
I don't believe Drake, I'm taking up for Drake. I mean, everybody does know. Like, I'm the biggest Pusha T fan that I know, Mike. Like, I don't believe I'm sitting up here saying any of this shit. Like, I was sitting in the bed last night listening to this shit. Like, yo, this shit slaps. Like,
speaking of that, what did you think of Duppy Freestyle? Because honestly, when Duppy Freestyle came out, I thought it was a good answer back. I didn't see the life of Adidon coming. I didn't think that Drake was going to win that, but I thought it was respectable. What did y'all think of Duppy Freestyle in there? I know we don't normally mention diss records that get trumped by another diss record, but I thought it was a good offering.
I mean, here's what I thought about it when I heard it. You're going to need to do much better than that against this guy. It was good. It was like, oh, you apparently don't know who you fucking with. Like,
I really think Back to Back was impressive.
Do it. Like Mike, I was like, when I heard it, I was like, you understand, like, you need like back to back, like ×3, like against this dude, like, right? Like, no, that ain't gonna cut it, fam. That's what I thought.
With that being said, Back to Back was impressive, but I think Back to Back was impressive for a few reasons. We didn't expect it. The beat was hitting, and he had some lines in there. Is that a world tour, your girls tour? And, I don't think that's what she meant when she meant you should open up more. Like,
my favorite bar is you getting bodied by a singer nigga, because it was happening live when you heard it. It's like, no, that's happening right now. Oh, shit, got a problem. You want to know what?
But I don't think Back to Back was unbeatable. I think Meek could have really come with something.
Can we talk about all that for a minute?
I would love to.
First of all, I didn't respect Drake as an MC totally until he made Back to Back.
Okay.
I was going to say that.
Okay.
I considered him to be a fusion rapper, like R&B and like whatever Andre and Lauryn Hill were supposed to be is what he became. And so I didn't look at him as like a full-fledged rapper until Back to Back. And neither did anybody else, because here's what really happened with Back to Back. Back to Back is so dope. And it's so unexpected that he was that quality of a diss record. It put Meek on his heels too fast, and Meek wasn't ready for the smoke.
And Meek was first of all, Meek started it, number one. And Meek was supposed to be the battle rapper. Meek was supposed to be the battle rapper.
But what I'm saying is that he felt probably the way that I felt about Drake at the time as an MC, which is like, oh, he ain't much of one, and I come from this and I built for this. So if he comes for me, I'm just gonna clean him up right quick and call it a day.
Yeah.
That got and that got him hurt, because when you heard the record, and then it was the pressure of hold on, you're the battle rapper. The singer nigga just made a hellified diss record.
Because Drake was at a status too where Drake could have just ignored it.
The level of pressure that he put on Meek, it changed instantly by the time that record went off the first time anybody heard it. The pressure was like this. It went through the roof, Mike. Yeah. And just plain and simple, he wasn't ready for that type of pressure.
And James Dotson says, Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers.
Oh, that was another great one. That was my second finger.
And you know, and the reason why that line is so relevant is because it was true. It was honestly, man, if you put the weight and gravity on everything, and the fact that Back to Back was nominated for a Grammy and all of that stuff, man, it has to be remembered as one of the bigger or one of the more monumental diss records that we've seen in hip hop, just based on the element of surprise.
Didn't I put it in my top 10 disses, Mike? I feel like I put it in my top 10 disses.
I think you did. Yeah.
I think it came in like 8 or something like that, 8 or 9. How about this? Of all the great diss records ever made, I think that and The Bitch in You by Common are the ones that really came out of nowhere. You were like, whoa.
Well, see, we knew Common had skills, though, but we didn't think Common was going to jump at Cube, obviously, but...
He didn't jump, Mike. He bodied Cube. Let's not get that shit confused. Like,
He did.
Yeah. No, he did.
But Drake bodied Meek, and that was very unexpected.
It was worse. No. What Drake actually did to Meek is worse, because you're right. Common was somebody that it was looked at in a lot of inner hip hop circles already as somebody with some dope lyrical talent and all that. Yeah.
Now I think to mention that, though, I do think that gave Drake some confidence to jump out there with Duppy Freestyle in the fashion that he did, and to think that, like you said, this might go the way that the Meek thing went. But Pusha T's he's not Meek Mill. He's something different. And this is what I do want to say. With
Meek's track on the D-Rap poster.
With Meek's response, how do you not find the blackface picture? How do you not find that? How did he not find because everybody talks about, the sun and all that stuff. I thought the blackface was the most incriminating part of the life of Adidon. I mean, because that picture, people thought that was a made-up photo image. That was
real. He put him on his heels fast. He put him on his heels real fast. Put him on his heels so fast, his first thought was like, oh, shit, I got to hit the studio and come up with something that's going, and yeah. So his mind didn't even get a chance to go there. He thought about it like a checkers player instead of a chess player. He saw him move, and he's like, oh, well, let me just jump over that. He wasn't looking at it like a chessboard. Like, let me slide my pawn over here. Let me push this knight back over in the cut and wait for a second.
Who wasn't looking like that?
Back board. He wasn't looking at it like that.
Who were you saying wasn't looking at it like that?
Me.
Meek took forever to respond. You remember that? He took forever. Because Flex was faking like he had the record.
It took him, but what I'm saying is he was trying to make the record, Mike. He was under pressure. He was like he had never been in that spot before. He was just jumping instead of like sitting back and thinking and formulating a real game plan.
What I don't understand is when artists go out there and put out a diss record and they don't expect a response. Like, how are you not ready? Like, it happened to Jigga too. Like, with Ether. Like, how are you not ready with something that's gonna come after the takeover? You came with Super Ugly. You weren't ready, clearly.
Hey, Mike. So I took one note about all of this because I knew we were going to get the back-to-back at some point. And talking about Drake today in the battle, the one note that I took about Drake and Meek's battle that I wrote down was that Meek was arrogant the way Jay was. It's the arrogance that got both of them in the battle because they weren't properly prepared for their adversary. One thought their adversary was finished. One thought their adversary just wasn't good enough in terms of battle rhyming. Yeah. And so what you really see, I mean, Mike, it's the iniquity of man, Mike. It's your own arrogance and your own confidence and your belief in so much that you think no man can tear you down. You know, so it's actually one of those things. If you look at it, Mike, it really is deeper than rap because the reason that they both lost actually doesn't have shit to do with rap. It has to do with the mentality and the mind frame that a man has.
I agree with that, and I do think that Meek probably thought that this battle was going to be won on Twitter. I don't think that he thought that Drake was actually going to come with a record. Drake Patton says, Mike, are you high? Because your eyes are a little heavy. Nah, man, it's been a long day. I'm good. I'm not high at all. But, yeah, I think that...
What is that, fam? Don't, like, even if, I mean, if he was, what is that? Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing? But, no, I think that Meek really thought that the battle was going to be won on social media. Because at that time... we really hadn't seen any mainstream artists really jump out there and do diss records in the social media age. That's another reason why I think Back to Back was really monumentous, because we didn't really see that on the mainstream level where people were making memes from diss records like that. Because it ushered in a new age, and I don't think Meek even thought that was going to happen.
The whole Joe Carter shit.
Mm-hmm.
Over the Phillies.
The Joe Carter, man.
Hold on, Mike, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's a chess move. That's not a checkers move.
You know, I'm not a huge Drake fan like that. But I will say this. His subliminal game.
Didn't he donate like 75 G's to Meek's high school?
Something like that.
That's chess.
That's what I'm saying.
Not checkers.
His petty subliminal game is at Jigga levels. Because that whole line that he had on the
he went Remy Ma. He went Remy Ma in terms of petty level on back to the whole that wasn't even Jigga level. That was Remy Ma level. That's the highest you can go.
What was that? What was that line that was on 4 a.m. in Calabasas where he was like, "You know me as a Chris bottle sender. Check pick up." That shot at that whole Chris Brown situation where he sent over the bottle of Chris and all that. I was like, dude, I got to give you that one. That's a crazy line. A Chris bottle sender? Check pick up? Come on.
So he's an above average rapper, back to back, Lemon Pepper, 0 to 100. There's evidence that he's an above average rapper. And that was my overall takeaway. He's not the star that he used to be, because it's like when I hear Lil Baby and him next to each other, it's like, well, that's the star.
You can tell that the song meant more to Lil Baby than it did Drake, yeah.
And when you hear, when you see that Rick Ross is on a feature, Mike, like, don't you get excited though? Don't you know the beat about the slap?
Yeah.
Aren't you happy? So he knows what he's doing. Is strategically planned in a wise way. He literally paired up with the guy that you know you're going to do a hot beat and make a hot record with. He paired himself with the hottest star in the game who looks up to him, and he hit you with a solo joint too. It's all strategic. It's well played. Mm-hmm. It's the best music he's made in a while. It's better than anything on that double. Like Lemon Pepper's better than everything on Views from the Six and that double album that he dropped. Like everything on there.
It's funny.
Everything on there.
It's funny you mention that because
I don't even know the name.
No one even mentioned Scorpion, and I guess we all.
I don't even remember the name.
I guess we all come to the conclusion, and all on a consensus, that Scorpion is not a good record.
When was that ever like a question? Like,
well, I mean, it had some hits on it. Nicer What was a hit. Nicer What was a hit. And the Shiggy shit, whatever, the Shiggy dance song, the Kiki song, it was a hit. Was it not?
What are we doing?
We're talking about the Kiki Do You Love Me song. Yeah, I mean, it was a commercial success.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's what we're doing. Yes, that was a commercial success.
And the song with Jigga, the DJ Paul produced.
That was yeah.
It was good. I mean,
good.
With all those, you know,
Andre B minuses and shit now for one record. You got a B minus on one record. Rest
on a double album.
Shit. Look, all them C's and D's at one B minus record. Like, okay.
Andre Shashir says, Scorpion put me to sleep. You know what I will say? In 2018, when Scorpion dropped, and after the story of Adidon and all that dropped, Travis Scott, I think, really saved Drake in 2018 with Sicko Mode. Yeah. Sicko Mode on Astro World brought Drake back into the consciousness like, oh, okay, we here. Because that saved the year. That was a huge record. Still a huge record. And a quality record, more importantly. Because I remember when I heard Sicko Mode and it went to that beat change and all that, I was like, yo, this hits. But you and I could talk for days about Astro World, I'm sure. But
need a way out like Nas needed an ether.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, Sicko Mode saved the day. Because not only did Pusha T just drop Daytona, and you know what I'm saying, and you dropped Scorpion, it was kind of, and because at that time the Kiki song didn't have a dance with it yet, so it really wasn't hitting either. But when Sicko Mode dropped, it was like, okay, it's back. So yeah, I guess the last quality album. I guess where we go from here. What do you expect on the next Drake record? Do you think it's going to be huge, or do you think we got another Scorpion or another Views from the Six on our hands?
No, I think this is a little foreshadowing of what's to come. I think you're probably going to get a 15-track album. It's probably going to have about 9 or 10 features. About 2 out of every 3 records is going to have somebody. I mean, because here is the thing. He does have enough equity in the game that it's like, first of all, you know you're probably going to hear Wayne somewhere.
When's the last time him and Wayne actually worked together on a?
No, you're gonna hear Wayne on this project because you're not hearing me. He needs help now, and he knows it.
Well,
that's what I hear from
his
EP. Like it ain't just that he called on help. It's the help that he called on in the 3 songs that I'm looking at. He was looking to make shit slap. Specifically Lil Baby, specifically Ross and the Maybach Sound, like specifically.
Well, it's being rumored out there that him and Ross got a project on the way together, and I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, I think that he could use that.
Have they made a bad record together, Mike?
Have they made a bad record together? They've made so many records together. I mean, I've been seeing like all these
records together like people think, but.
Well, I mean, I saw a chart today, I think it was on XXL, where they had like a bunch of the singles that they, you know, made together, and everybody was like, they're flawless.
Just the 2 of them, not a lot of records. If you're talking about stuff like I'm on One. And
I got you. Yeah,
I'm talking about Ross and Drake because, like, I mean, even Dice Pineapple's got Wale at the end. That's what I'm saying. Like, just them 2, they haven't actually done a lot of work, just them 2.
You know what? I really feel like Rick Ross is the dominating force with those 2 when they're together. Because usually when Ross is on the track, you get a certain quality of production, right? And that production is usually associated with Ross and the Maybach music drop and all that. So he already kind of takes it on. You know, like with Slick Rick, right? When Slick Rick would do a record with Slick Rick would have a Slick Rick sound. Like he dominates the record.
I'm glad you brought Slick Rick up, Mike. That is such an accurate description of what Rick Ross does. I'm glad you went to Slick Rick. I don't know how else to express this. Those are the coolest motherfuckers in the class.
Yeah.
And so when people are pairing with them, they're actually pairing with them not just because they respect them as MCs, but because they want a piece of their world bought for their project.
Yeah. No, that's what it's about.
Oh, come on, Mike.
And it's like what we were talking about last week, right? It's like Premiere. People would get Premiere to get Premiere to be a part of their project, and they're like the artist version of that.
What the kids call it, that's what the drip is. You know what I'm saying? That's what their drip is like with the other rappers.
Yeah.
The other rappers who are, you know, entities and got their own followings unto themselves want to get in those guys' zone.
It's not a lot of guys like that. I think Future's a guy like that too, but you know, but we're talking about like it's on a different thing.
Because you can just use Future as a hook guy in a way that you can't just use Ross as a hook guy.
You know what?
Ross gotta give you the whole vibe.
You know what's interesting about Future, and I'll say this about Future, we can get off of him and get back on the Ross thing. Man, it's like he's one of those guys that so feature heavy when he's on other people's stuff, but he holds down albums by himself so much, he doesn't get a lot of credit for that. Because there's so many Future albums where it's just him. He don't have a lot of people on his own stuff. He'll do the hooks. He'll do, you know how I feel about Future.
I'm not about to let you get away with that. And here's why. Didn't you and me have a whole J. Cole conversation like a night or two ago? When did we have our J. Cole conversation?
That might have been earlier today.
Was that earlier today?
Or
no,
yesterday.
That was earlier today. Cole was yesterday. The Cole conversation was yesterday.
It might have been yesterday.
You can't sit up there and give Future credit for working by himself so much and then not Cole for working by himself so much.
You know what? Cole by himself is boring. Yeah, I said it.
Here we go.
Are we gonna get to Cole? Let's talk about Cole.
I'm gonna go back to that.
We 35 minutes in. Let's talk about Cole real quick. We 35 minutes in. Let's talk about Cole real quick. Because if we want to talk about Drake not really coming with a quality project in a minute, what's the last J. Cole album that you loved from top to bottom?
I mean, the only J. Cole project that I love from top to bottom is Forest Hills.
Me too.
So if that's the question, it's like, well, that's it. That's the beginning and the end for me. The rest of his work to me is good to inconsistently great.
Ronve is in the room dying laughing because Ronve and I have had this J. Cole conversation just like you and I have. And Ronve just said Forest Hill as well. I think we're all on...
You're just so disrespectful, Mike.
Am I? I mean, because at the end of the day, why are we comparing... Why are people acting like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are like on the same level when you got one guy who has Good Kid, Mad City, who has Section 80, who has To Pimp a Butterfly, who has Damn, and the other guy has Forest Hill Drive?
Why did we compare Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler, Mike? We may never know. We may never know, Mike.
Did we compare Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler? I thought it was because of their jumping ability.
NBA Finals footage where they're literally comparing them before the pre-games live, Mike. It was part of the build-into the game.
That's marketing. So is that what we're leaning on? Marketing? If we stacked up J. Cole's best 4 albums and Mike, Kendrick's best 4 albums and put them in order.
The media made it a conversation. It's always marketing.
Yeah.
There has to be something adversarial about it, even in these happy ass rapper rap times.
I agree with you. Now that we can agree on. But, I mean, I just don't see how justifiably it's like the same conversation. It'd be like you ask people, who you listening to? Kendrick or Cole? Kendrick and Cole. Kendrick.
That's right. Because Mike, because that's always been the eternal question of Kool Moe D, LL Cool J.
Yeah.
You got KRS-One, MC Shan.
Rakim and K.
Rakim. Biggie or Pac. Nas or Jay.
Biggie and Pac and Nas and Jay earned that. You know what I mean? But I just don't feel like J. Cole has earned the right to be mentioned in the same sentence as Kendrick and be synonymous with him. And I say that respectfully. I don't want anybody to think I'm disrespecting Cole.
Hold on, Mike. I bought up Clyde Drexler, and I don't want to, because he's a Hall of Famer, so I don't want to do this in any disrespectful way. But I bought up Clyde Drexler in the Michael Jordan comparison because I'm really speaking more about the dearth of talent at the position that was around at the time. And that's really how the comparison came to be.
Yeah, you're right.
If you actually look at it, Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler were only close in the fact that Clyde Drexler was probably the second best 2-guard at the time. But the 2-guard position at the time in 1991, 92 isn't what it became. Mike, it became that a lot because of Mike. And so you didn't see the disparity until you put them right next to each other with money on the line.
Who do you...
So the same rules apply with Kendrick and Cole.
I got you. I understand it's marketing, and I understand that, they're placed together in that way.
He's the second best shooter. He's the second best 2-guard of his era. Of course he's going to get compared next to the first guy. They don't have anybody else to compare him to the dearth of talent. There was no Dwayne Wade or James Harden or Allen Iverson running around.
No, it wasn't. And I do think that Kendrick quickly separated himself from the rest of the class, but you're right. I mean, it's no fun when you just got one guy just running away with everything.
That's what I mean.
But,
can you name another great two guard from that era, like off the top of your head?
I mean, off the top of my head, I would go Reggie Miller. But that was a couple of years later, honestly.
1991.
Yeah.
91, 92.
Yeah. It was Clyde. And the fact that they were drafted a year apart, and then you got that whole thing in the fact that really Portland didn't pick Jordan because they picked Drexler a year before.
They specifically said, we just drafted Clyde Drexler.
But I will say this. How about we do it this way? Because, I think that people were misconstruing what I'm saying. I think that J. Cole's a nice MC and all that. He can rhyme. But if we were doing like a versus straight up and people were going track for track, and how do you think that J. Cole would fare against a Drake or something like that? Or even a Big Sean? I think that Big Sean might give J. Cole that work in a versus.
I think that's a more fair pairing for him versus wise. I mean, if you're talking about him going versus Drake or Kendrick in a versus, he's going to lose. More of a legitimate shot against Sean. I would still give Sean the edge. I think Sean's just made bigger records.
He has. He's been on bigger features and all that stuff. And,
I mean, yeah, I'm about to say what Cole got for when Sean played his Mercy verse. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we out in Perry. Yeah, I'm Perry. Yeah. White girls politicking. That's the Sarah Palin.
Rambe says that Cole's best offering can't top Kendrick's worst. And it sounds disrespectful to say,
is that true? Oh, he might have just said something. Who said that?
Rambe. Shout out to Rambe out there.
Ron. Yeah. Ron might be right. Oh shit! I never looked at it like that. That's,
okay.
Ooh.
What is Kendrick's worst offering, guys? What is the weakest Kendrick project?
Mike. That's not even the smoke, Mike. That's the whole house is on fire at that point. If that's the case, like you might as well just pull everybody out the building, evacuate. Very problematic. Oh shit. So what would it be? Would it be?
I think his weakest offering, and then we're not going to count Untitled, Unmastered.
Butterfly. We're about okay.
What do y'all think? I mean, all right, if we're talking about Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn, what is his weakest offering?
To me, Damn and Good Kid, Mad City are clearly better than Forest Hills. There's no way that you can say Forest Hills is better than To Pimp a Butterfly. So this just comes down to, is Forest Hills better than Section 80?
Wow. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I don't think it is. What I was just thinking about? I'm thinking
about rigor mortis and stuff.
And I'm like, in my head, I just thought about Cushion Corinthians in my head, and I was just like, no. The answer is no.
Even the song that J. Cole produced on there, High Power. I mean,
he produced High Power.
He produced High Power, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he should have given himself more beats like that.
I think that J. Cole producing for himself all the time, and we discussed this offline, I think it has hindered his career musically.
Well, that's the problem. So can I say my behind the scenes comment live since we're talking about it?
Yeah.
Q-Tip and Pete Rock need to produce his next album, not him.
I think Q-Tip could make a classic for J. Cole. Because I think, all the stuff that I'm saying, I think J. Cole has a classic in him. I think I
told you, Mike, his next joint's going to be his next joint.
I think that the job of
doing all the beats.
I think the job of a producer is to bring that out.
Doing all the beats, that shit's over.
You know who else can make a classic for him, too? You know who I'm going to say. Mr. West could do it, too. He could. I was listening to B today. And I'm sitting here listening to B. And, all right, you know how you put on a record and you want to hear a certain song? And so I started on It's Your World. But I wanted, not It's Your World, that's the last song. Love Is. The other one. The one that Dilla did. Love Is. Yeah. How beautiful love could be. Yeah, It's Your World is beautiful. But I was going to go from Love Is to It's Your World. But I ended up listening to everything in between because Shy City was next. The Food was after that. And then it was They Say was after that. And I'm like, yo, Common sound like a whole different dude on that record. And, you got to give Kanye West a lot of credit for that. We got to give Kanye West a lot of credit for Daytona. And we've seen Kanye pick up people at points in their career, like where J. Cole is right now, and be able to make classic albums for them. Is that not true?
So this isn't about Kanye, actually. This is about J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
You just brought up Common B and Pusha T Daytona.
Yeah.
You know who you're talking about, right? Like, you talking about Common and Pusha T.
Like, wow, where do you think J. Cole is? You must not think very highly of J. Cole.
Mike, before B, didn't Common already make Like Water for Chocolate?
He did.
Didn't he already make Resurrection?
He did.
Didn't he already make One Day It'll All Make Sense?
He did. All right, we're talking about skill. You don't think J. Cole has?
Pusha T make Hell Have No Fury with his brother? Like,
Okay.
like are we talking like what are we doing? That is
where do you think J. Cole is? Is J. Cole top 30 for you? James Dawson said exactly what I was thinking. He said top 30 rapper Cole. Where do you have J. Cole? I mean, is he outside of that 30? Is he better than Bun B or something?
No, he's not better than Bun. Who said that?
All right, so where do you have him?
Who said that? Who said that?
You don't think J. Cole's better than Bun?
Who said that? No. Who in their right mind? No.
Wow.
No, he's better than Bun.
So where do you have J. Cole? And you're from North Carolina, by the way.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah, I know all about the Nom. I know all about Fayette Nom. 71st High School, all that. Yeah, like, Mike, if I was ranking him, he's going to fall somewhere between 25 to 40.
That's a big range.
So he might make it. I think we did a list. I think that he did make somewhere between my 25 to 30. That's where I have him. I think I have him and Bun B like respectively somewhere right next to each other. But I have Bun B ahead.
But that was a living list, I think. Do you have Prodigy ahead of him?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, Styles P's ahead of him.
That's not a conversation. No. That's not a conversation.
I'm just naming people who are in that arena. Now,
no. Prodigy's no.
Now, here's another problematic.
Hold on. Prodigy is like in Jada Kiss's and Pusha T's arena in his prime. If you want to dock him for the back in his career, we can push him back a little bit. But Prodigy at his worst is a B-.
So you got Conway Machine over J. Cole.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You got Eminem over J. Cole.
Ooh.
I got Eminem over J. Cole. Yeah, I said it, and that's me. I'm sorry.
I would probably say yeah because I'm going to lean on the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem show and all the features and a lot of the rep in the R. I mean, people understand like he came with a certain reputation before he had his deal.
Yeah.
Like this white boy will smash your ass.
I mean, even records like a Bonnie and Clyde '97, the way those are put together. I mean, I got to give Eminem songwriting credit. I mean, it is what it is. He's a great songwriter, especially to come from that battle scene.
Give Eminem credit.
Yeah, I mean,
always good to hear.
No, I give Eminem credit. I don't give him top 10 credit, but yeah.
I didn't say that.
Okay, all right. Let me think of somebody else because I'm trying to gauge where you actually have Cole because that comment you made about the fact that you didn't think that he was even in the arena of Common and Pusha T. I found really interesting because
those are arguable top 10 MCs. He's not an arguable top 10 MC. That's what I'm saying. The name of the show, What Are We Doing? You people, because if people are out here thinking that way, like we need to correct that shit before we go talk about anything else. Like,
well, I disagree with you on one thing. I think that I would have to put Cole over Bun B.
Based on what?
I would say based on the solo works.
We talking about Forest Hills though, right?
We are talking about Forest Hills. Didn't love KLD, I guess.
What about Trilla?
Yeah, Trilla. Yeah, you know what? That is close, respectfully. And then, you got the
Trilla's
UGK stuff.
Forest Hills is better than Trilla, but that's what I'm saying. It's like Mike. I mean,
and then Bun B got those classic features and stuff too.
I was about to go to the features, and then I was just gonna go to Riding Dirty, Mike.
And then he got the seminal verse on Murder. What would you say J. Cole's seminal verse is?
I told you, J. Cole's best verse to me isn't even on any of his projects. It's his verse on Pray off Jesus Piece.
Okay. So, all right, speaking of Jesus Piece, you got, where's The Game? The Game's better than Cole?
To me, yes.
I think so, too.
To me, yes.
And you got Rick Ross over Cole?
Yes.
You got Rick Ross over Cole.
Yeah. You already know how I feel about Rose. Yeah.
I've named pretty much, and I ain't even naming the big dogs. So I've named the good, you know,
Those
10
are big dogs. You just said the Game, Common, Push It. Like,
no, I'm not naming the, you
you
know what I
like?
mean? I'm not naming the Nas's, the Rakims, and all that stuff. So it's like, it sounds like to me you got J. Cole just, you know, just thinking about it, probably around 35 to 40-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this? Like, he's been around long enough that he should be ahead of Cool G Rap and Kane, who I had like 25 and right outside the 25 at 26. He should be ahead of them. Look at how much catalog and how much time he's had.
I think that Big Sean has accumulated a better catalog than J. Cole.
I had him. No. I have him ahead of Big Sean. I didn't say that.
Why do you have him ahead of Big Sean?
He's just inherently a superior MC.
Just off of skill alone?
Period. He can do things that Sean can't do on the mic. He can. And I like Sean. Sean's probably a better songwriter. But here's the thing.
Sean got hits.
I mean,
you got Drake ahead of him?
I would like to hear J. Cole just be the writer and rapper on the project. Like, kill all that beat shit for a minute.
Well, the question I really wanted to ask, and talking about all these things and bringing it back to the title here, you got Drake over him?
No, I can't do that with a clear conscience, Mike. I'm still.
Why not?
No, you want to know it?
Because Drake is giving us the battle.
No.
We talked about it.
Drake's catalog is too good to like not put him ahead of Cole.
It is what it is.
It is.
And like you said, he is above average MC.
Here's the thing, Mike. Take Care, and if you're reading this, now it's too late. Oh, those are better than Forest Hills.
So yeah,
I don't even love Take Care, and I know that it's better than Forest Hills.
I mean,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. We're gonna call it like we see it. And these things that we're talking about, Mike, is why I tell you that I prefer Rhapsody as the representation of what an MC from North Carolina sounds like and is. Now you get it a little bit more.
So maybe. Why do you prefer Rhapsody's representation over Cole? I don't, I guess for me, and, I'm not from Carolina or anything, but it feels like when people hear Cole or his music, I don't know, people automatically think New York as opposed to Carolina, even though I know Carolina's very New York, East Coast influenced.
Yeah, but I say that's where you're getting that from. It's very East Coast influence and very New York influence. But what I'm saying is that Rhapsody be on some rap shit, not her rap shit. Cole be on he be in his own little world and his own little box with it, Mike.
Well, I think a lot of that's because he doesn't do any features either.
That's what I mean. He never steps outside of his box, and it's like, no, like that. Like, that's not the only sound that we have. Like this is what I mean. What's the track on Busta's album that Rhapsody did? Now I'm trying the back and forth about the baby mama and baby daddy.
Yeah. Great record, yeah.
That's a great record. You'll never hear Cole jump on somebody's project like that and come up with a conceptual, like on some rap shit. It's like he stopped doing that like 15 years ago, Mike.
I agree with that.
Right.
Oh, Moolah Grande has everybody is mediocre besides 38 Special, Rock Marciano, Griselda, Dipset, D Block.
Oh, that nigga from upstate New York. Where you from, fam? You either
Buffalo's in the building.
Hold on, Buffalo, Rochester, the Falls. Where you from, fam?
He would catch the one show where we're not talking about Griselda the whole time.
I'm about to say, fam, you need to go back to all our old shows and catch Griselda. Hey, fam, you forgot to shout out Flea Lord. We up on Flea too.
Yeah, Flea's hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But we give Conway the Machine. I feel like a lot of people feel like too much props.
You forgot Stove the God too.
Stove, yeah, you can't forget Stove.
Yeah, we know, nigga. What up?
Moolah said he's from Louisiana. That's what's up, man. Griselda's reaches all the way down in Louisiana. I love Rock Marciano too.
Yeah, I'm about to say Mike Big Rock Marciano.
Yeah, fan. That's my guy, man. I've been listening to him for like 10+ years. But yeah, man. And if you ask me, I mean, lyrically, he's better than Cole, but we got to be fair here.
I just want to hear Cole rap over Primo and Pete Rock and Q. Like that's his zone. Like, how about this? You want to know what Forest Hills is?
What's up?
It's like his version of the low end theory. It's like, nah, fuck that nigga. Go call Q-Tip. Make the low end theory like 2.0.
He needs that. He needs that direction. And,
like, hold on. I have a question for the people watching. What do you all think of J. Cole as a producer? Because my biggest critique of him is that his production's not great enough for what it takes away from the MC that he could be. As in the time that he is spending making those beats, he could be more realistically in this conversation with Kendrick comparably, instead of having me make fucking Clyde Drexler analogies when I could be making, I don't know, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone analogies.
No,
like
I agree. I agree 100% because, and I think when you said Q-Tip, I think that's right on the button, man. I think
that's the guy.
Yeah.
Didn't his production sound Q-Tip, J Dilla? Yeah. But not as good.
But the thing about Q-Tip, if your record actually comes out, and I know he's a perfectionist because, you know, he'll sit there and craft that thing forever, but I think Q-Tip will actually give you that level of direction, and you could tell he's also that guy amping you up in the studio too. It's a different energy, like you said, when you don't have to do all the work. When you're splitting that, you're able to focus on the rhymes, and Q-Tip's great with the hooks too. He's underrated with that also. But he's able to pull all that together, and I think, like you said, if J. Cole was able to just focus on the rhymes or focus on the songs, man, he could give us the project that we always thought he could. I think that he's another person that's surviving off of potential, right?
He would give us the project that would make the Kendrick Cole conversation more of an actual conversation, instead of something that turns into us making it seem like he's not on Kendrick's level. It's not about capability. It's about what he's provided. If he would just MC for a while, I think he could provide something more comparable. But while all of this is, Mike, while all this is going on, Pusha T's dropped the classic. You already know how I feel about Conway. Kendrick hasn't dropped a project in 5 years. I hope these dudes know they're walking into a different world.
You know what? I was saying that to you last year. You thought I was
tripping. I told you towards the end of the year, I told you, like, I was being resistant. I was like, but you're right. Like, when Conway made From a King to a God, I legitimately looked at it, and I'm like, well, in Pusha T and Conway, I don't know if Kendrick and Cole are better than those guys. So, like, show and prove.
The last project I
always told people, it's like, Pusha T's verse on Nostalgia is just as good as Kendrick's, if not better, and that's Kendrick in his prime.
Yeah, definitely. So nobody is sitting there saying that Kendrick killed Pusha T on that record.
Nobody says that. You want to know why? Because that didn't happen. Especially if you know something about hip hop, because Pusha like pulled in the West Coast references to connect the song like a chess player does. Like Dope Boy to Trey, if he rides, he rides, throwing punches in his room. If he dies, he cries.
Look.
Yeah.
Last thing that J. Cole put out was KOD, and that was 2018. What did you think about KOD?
It was one of those albums that sounded really dope the first few times I heard it, and then it faded really fast, and that's what I mean about production. When something like that happens, it's usually the production that fails you, because he's content heavy enough that some of the content should hold you, like the Feds Knocking at My Door shit. That was the hardest shit, but I also thought that was the best beat, hence the problem.
Yeah. And like you said,
in the brackets, I think was popular. Like, you know, ESPN was playing brackets and stuff, the whole counted up shit. But I mean, Mike, if I'm not mistaken, and you said this to me, and this is what it sounded like. It sounded like he heard Damn and went and made something that sounded like Damn in about 2 weeks. And it's like, why did you even do that? It's like, you don't even got to do that. Like, you're the one guy being compared to him. Like, we want to hear you in your lane in your zone.
I felt like he was
anything close to his zone unless you're giving him a track.
Counted Up sounded like his best Kendrick Lamar impression to me, personally. James Dotson said, more I think about it, Cole is top 40. Alex Caldwell said, KOD didn't age well. I was disappointed. Andre Shashir said, I agree. I don't go back to his music after a few listens. And, you know,
like KOD sounded dope for like 3 listens. And then I was like, all right, I'm cool outside of the Feds knocking at my door. Like, I was cool with the rest of it.
Well, you know,
and like from Carolina, Mike, I be giving him extra run that maybe he don't deserve sometimes. Like, people be like, I'm Nas biased, Pusha T biased, or whatever. Like, if I'm really biased about anything, it's about Carolina.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's 2021. KOD didn't age well. I don't even think it made it out of 2018 based on the fact that we got Daytona that year and we got Astro World on that year. if, you know, if we're talking about on the mainstream level, and some of those, you know, Drake records that were on Scorpion or whatever, he got drowned out because that was earlier in the year. So, yeah, like you said, when Kendrick and Cole come back, they're stepping into a whole new world. Kendrick hadn't dropped an album since 2017, guys. It's 2021. You understand what all has happened since then?
You want to know what it is, too? When an artist releases a project that's revered the way Cole is, you need to be able to look back at their resume and say, at least 2 or 3 or 4 times, Mike, in order for them to really be like who they're saying they are, you need to be able to look back at about 2 or 3 or 4 projects. And even if it wasn't the best project that year, you need to be able to look back at the artist and say, that was one of the 5 best rap projects that year. And I'm going to give you an example. In 1994, Nas made Illmatic. It was clearly the best hip-hop project that year. It was written to most people as still one of the top 5 hip-hop albums of 1996. Same thing with Life is Good. Same thing, King's Disease. Even when he hasn't maybe given you his best material, when you're that great and you get talked about like that, oh, you better make a top 5 album of the year some of those years, because that's how you get considered that way. And so if Cole's missing anything, he's missing that, because it's like, okay, so let's say these albums aren't classic, but how did they do that year? Like, are you still in the conversation? It's like something like KOD. KOD wasn't in the conversation.
It wasn't in the conversation. And if it was in the conversation, if it was in the conversation, people were putting it there because of who it was. People who really had their ear to the conversation. Huh?
Was Friday Night Lights in the conversation?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, like I said, because of who it was, people liked it. It was new. But when you look back at it, when's the last time you put that record on? What I will say, man.
Look at Jay. Like, look at Jay. When Jay dropped the Blueprint 3, Mike, that was one of the 5 best rap albums that year. That's one of the things. Like, no, he could be the greatest MC of all time, because how many years has he dropped the project? Reasonable Doubt was 1996. So let's go back to 96. So it's like, it was written as a top 5 rap album in 96. Reasonable Doubt is the best rap album of 96, Mike. But he has other years where even though he didn't make the best rap album, it's like, no, the Black Album was a top 5 rap album. The Blueprint arguably was the best album that year too. The Blueprint 3 was a top 5 rap album that year. Cole doesn't have those things. I mean, Kendrick's got that in spades. If Kendrick's got anything that nobody's ever really had, is that his last 3 projects have all been the best rap projects the year that they came out. That's part of his legacy. But I told people
the years that he came out were selective too. You know what I'm saying?
Not even that, Mike. I mean, damn, the selectiveness is just dearth of talent.
Yeah, no, he's great. No. Don't get it twisted. But I'm just saying there really wasn't,
because of the dearth of talent. When he comes out, and this is what I mean about things being different. It's like, I hope he understands that it's like, oh, it's always been expected of you to make the best rap album of the year, because the level of competition has not been there to dictate otherwise. Now you have to look up, and it's like, oh no, guys that are lyrically as nice as you have dropped classic albums while you've been gone.
Yeah, you didn't drop in a year that a Victory Lap or a Daytona came out. You didn't drop in a year.
Mike, never been under that type of pressure, but Mike, be under that pressure this year, because here's what I realized. Conway still hasn't released his Shady debut, which he was working on before, From a King to a God, which he's really crafting that. You've heard the early stuff. You and me were talking behind the scenes about what they've been saying about Pusha stuff early. They're saying the stuff he's been making is right there with Daytona, if not better. So he's walking into a different scenario.
Whole different world. And you know what's crazy, man? It's like, when Cole was coming out with stuff like KOD and all that, I was thinking that, okay, well, you know, this is just the times that we're in where, you know, songs just aren't going to have legs like that anymore because the internet moves so fast. But like I told you the other day, man, I was listening to Pray for Paris the other day. That shit felt like, for me, that it came out like 5 years ago. That was only last year. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to George Bondo like, yo, this is timeless stuff. And J. Cole has never done that. And that's just the truth. That's just the God-honest truth.
Mike, let's hold on. Mike, what did I tell you behind the scenes? Pray for Paris is more of a classic than Daytona is. It's going to hold up longer than Daytona sound.
I agree with that. We said that offline. Andre Shashir, I think he got an inside or something. He said, I've heard some of Conway's new shit. And he said it's fire. So I agree. You know, it is what it is.
What he told Wendy Williams? What he told Wendy Williams? I'm currently the best rapper alive.
And who's gonna say any different, right? Listen, man.
I'm respectfully gonna give that to him until I hear anything from Pusha or Kendrick.
Yeah,
like those are that's the conversation right now. The conversation right now should be as far as like who the best MC is like what do Kendrick and Pusha T have for Conway?
Right.
Because he is currently sitting in that seat, and nobody should have that confused. He's currently the best MC in rap. Period.
No, I agree, and he's earned that. And like you said, Kendrick and Cole are going to be jumping into a whole different world. And
a fucking game, Mike.
Yeah.
A fucking game.
And you know what?
Here's the thing. They may have taken advantage of their stardom and the dearth of talent in terms of how much material they have not produced.
What I will say, and I think we talked about this offline, I don't know what it means that Drake's album is taking this long. You know, it was supposed to drop in January, and
there's no going into the studio the night after a show and making a back-to-back anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you and me have had this conversation so many times. That Kevin Garnett conversation, you only got but so many jumps in your knees.
So you think Drake's done? You think Drake's done?
I don't think that he's done. What I'm saying, do you remember what? It's just harder to jump from game to game. You remember D Wade at the end of these last couple of years where it's like he would go bust you for 25, 26 one game, and then the next two games he'd get like 13 and then get 15. You'd be like, what's wrong with D Wade? It's like, no, fam, you running out of jumps. Ain't nothing wrong with the nigga. Yeah. If he feels right, he can still go bust your ass for 25, 30. But he's only going to feel right. You know, they playing 3 games in a week. Oh, he only probably going to feel right 1 or 2 of those games. So you probably only going to see D Wade, 1 full game and a half of another game. So it's like, oh, D Wade fell off. He's scoring 17 points. No, fam, you only got so many jumps in your body.
And you know what? It really makes you appreciate what guys like Nas have been able to do. And Jay.
Mike, I mean, he's produced the amount of hits to the level of somebody of a Beatles or a Michael Jackson. People do understand that, right? Like not in terms of the level of the hit, but in terms of he's produced.
Yeah.
No, people are sleeping on the fact he's produced that many Billboard chart topping hits. The nigga only got but so many jumps.
You know what? I want to. I mean, we could have this conversation on a whole nother show or whatever, but I do think that we need to put charting and Billboard accomplishments in context from the digital era to when people actually put out physical copies of things. It's a little bit different. It's a little easier to chart now when you're a mainstream artist, when a lot of the mainstream has gone underground. You know what I mean? Like, the competition is different. The pool is way different.
Totally, but I only bring it up because that's what he's known for. That's his lane. That's what I'm saying. When you have that type of lane, there's only but so many jumps in that type of lane. That's why I always stress to people, if you listen, Jay and Nas are not the lyricists they used to be. They have transitioned and become full song and album makers. See, he has been a hit maker. What I hear in Lemon Pepper is somebody that is trying to become more of a song maker, not the hit song maker, because them jumps is about done. You can hear that the jumps are about done on Views from the Six and Scorpion. Name the hit records off of them that are like hits that are going to go on his greatest hits. Like Best I Ever Had. Ain't no Best I Ever Had on Scorpion. Those days are done. That's what I'm saying.
Let me make some predictions. But
if he can go give you Lemon Pepper, that adds to his catalog, Mike, because he has enough hits in that lane. It's like, you gonna go do joints like Lemon Pepper? No, I'm cool with that, fam. Show these niggas you can rap. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think if we're talking about in the terms of projects, though, I would like to make some predictions. I think with J. Cole's next project, we're gonna see a little bit more of the same. Nothing outstanding. Something like KLD, where it's like gonna make buzz when it comes out, and it's gonna go away. What I think with Drake, we're gonna see another one of those Scorpions, where it's gonna be a couple of hits here and there, but as a whole,
some petty pessimism again.
And I think with Kendrick Lamar, we're about to see his first His first seemingly dropped off the map project.
Is
This
that
is
right?
taking too long. He's never taken this long. And I feel like, and I think we've had this conversation before. I feel like, with Method Man, what really hurt him in his solo career is the fact that he, from 94 to 98, he took that break. And too much happened between 94 and 98 to take a break like that. And I think that that's what Kendrick's looking at right now. He's looking down the barrel of, it's 2017 to 2021. And too much has happened. And he has too much to follow up. I think it's just inevitable at this point. He's going to drop his first disappointing effort. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
So can I give you what my prediction is?
Go ahead.
I think that Conway's project for Shady that's coming out, God Don't Make Mistakes, is going to be just as good as From a King to a God.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing that I want to say. Like, whatever that album is, I expect this next album to equate to it, if not be better than, which means it's easily in contender for Album of the Year, seeing how
I agree with that.
Seeing how it narrowly missed being Album of the Year, because I think From a King to a God is a classic. It's just that I think From Pray to Paris is an all-time classic.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? If we're going to go with them, let me make one more prediction. I think Benny the Butcher is going to make a better project than Burden of Proof, which was a good project as well. But I think that his next project is going to be better than that.
I think Pusha T is going to make a more full-length player of Daytona.
I think so, too. I agree with that.
As in, it's going to be Daytona, except for instead of 7 tracks, it's going to be more like a Clips album, as in 11, 12, 13.
And he going to get all the features he wants, because everybody love him.
Everybody does love him, especially after Daytona. And I mean, Neptune's, Timberland, and Kanye are in there. That's pretty much a say yes situation all around.
Andre Shashir says that Benny's dropping on the 19th. We're waiting.
Yeah, Plugs on that too. Yeah, Plugs is dropping on the 19th. Yeah. Plugs too with Harry. And as far as Kendrick is concerned, I'm going to tell you something. I think this is the year he needs to pull Dr. Dre out of his hat. That's been in the
emergency play.
No. That's been in the bag the entirety of the time, Mike. We even did a podcast where I talked to you about this, and I was like, hey, he still hasn't fucked with Dre tough yet. That's in the bag if he ever needs it. And that's why I'm referencing Kendrick after I'm referencing Conway and pushing what I think they about to do. Oh, you need it.
You know what the problem with that is, though, Coop?
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Because if Conway and Pusha T produce the projects that I think they're about to produce this year, they will have both dropped 2 classics since your last shit. And so now we got to start having a conversation about if they're top 10 and not you.
Yeah.
Because what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the competition. And we're going to see, like, well, damn, they kind of did that against each other around the same time when they were making their classic shit. And we're going to look back at you and be like, and you just had Cole.
Yeah. No, you're right. We're going to look at the whole arena.
Conversation. And that's going to change the conversation because, Mike, I mean, Pusha's in my top 10 with Kendrick. I told you, I got Conway in my top 20 now. Oh, if these dudes make the records I think they about to make that people are talking about that they're making, yeah. Oh, like, nigga, your spot ain't safe. Like
on a consistent basis. They dropping like 3 records a year.
Ain't nobody safe, Mike. I was watching the Conway Drink Champs where Tragedy was just talking about how hungry he was. Yeah. Because he was like, G-Rap and King was like, they was ruthless. They was assassins. He was like, they got to get it.
You know what's crazy about, and we could say Griselda, and Griselda's a whole movement and all that, but you could tell that Conway and Benny in particular, they're inspiring some of people's all-time favorite MCs to get back in the booth and do their thing.
Noriega just talked about that. Yeah. Noriega talked about Lemon. He told Conway that he thought Method Man's verse on Lemon was the verse of the year because of everything that he did on the verse. Yeah. Mike, didn't I just get up here?
You said the exact same thing. They're
Mike,
listening
I got
to
up
you.
here multiple times. I just want people to understand. I know what I'm talking about because somebody who MC'd, who got platinum plaques on his wall, said the same exact thing I did. He was like, if you listen to everything that Method Man is doing on Lemon, it's like a class in rhyming. And here's what's crazy about it, Mike. When he was saying that, I was thinking, and I still don't know if his verse is better in Conway's, which is why both of those verses made top 20 on our verses for the yearbook, because it was that type of performance.
It's all in
Conway
here.
It's in
It's
there.
all in here.
Like Lemon, isn't Method Man and Conway's verse for Lemon on my top 20 verses?
Let me go through the book right now. Yeah. You got
that's why. Like that's
well,
why,
you got War Pain in here too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Conway got a few. Yeah.
The only time I felt pressure is when the doctor said I might be paralyzed from the neck up. I'm like, stop that. Niggas ain't talking like that.
Here's the Lemon verse right here, if y'all can see it. Let me go ahead and switch my shit around real quick. But yeah, this is
So you're right, but they haven't. How about this? You want to know what? They have inspired the guys that they inspired.
That's special. That's special. That's special.
Like Noriega was talking about it. He was like, no, when I hear y'all niggas, he was like, y'all doing what we was doing. Capone, Noriega, Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, Big, not like they was talking about all that. And even Tragedy had never met Conway, and he was sitting up there like, yo, he was like, I like this nigga.
Yeah. They doing something. You know? They doing something way different, man.
Like Mike.
And this, and you know what? The other part that's special about it. My bad. I don't mean to interrupt you. The other thing that's special about it. This isn't industry driven. This is grassroots, fan driven.
That's why they love it. That's why they love it. It's organic. Like think about somebody like Tragedy. He came up under Kane and Rakim.
Yeah.
He helped seal the Nas deal. Like Noriega was just talking shit. The nigga Tragedy fuck Faith, nigga.
But you know what, man? This is and you talking about the Dr. Dre thing with
not Faith the singer.
No.
We're talking about Faith Newman, the person that got Nas to Columbia to Illmatic.
Yeah. We got to clarify, But yeah, what I was gonna say, man, when you brought up Dr. Dre and this whole Kendrick situation, what puts Kendrick behind the 8 ball on that, Dr. Dre is not going to put your album out in a timely manner. These guys are putting out too much material.
That's not what I said. I said beats from Dre.
But I'm just saying, if Dr. Dre is producing your album, that shit ain't coming out till like 3 years from now.
I mean, truthfully,
you know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of guys from a certain era just...
Hold on. So can we just say something right quick?
Go ahead.
This is just me. I always thought the Rock album was a smokescreen for the fact that they've been putting in work.
It could be. I think at this point he can't put out a Rock album.
I think there's work.
Yeah.
I think there's work. Because here's the last thing that you have to realize too. Kendrick is talking on Damn about how ain't nobody fucking with him on the mic.
Mm-hmm. That's not true anymore.
Right now.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Not true anymore.
I didn't feel that it was totally true then because I felt like Pusha T and Jay Electronica at the time could fuck with him.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the classic resume solo-wise to display that. He's walking into a different game now.
Do you think that, since we were talking about Pusha T and those features that I think that we know are probably going to happen, do you think that Kendrick's going to kind of come with his new effort kind of for Dolo? Or you think he going to get features like a Black Thought? Because James Dotson said Black Thought and Kendrick track. Well, we did see Kendrick in the basement with Nas, too. I mean, you think he's going to go out there and take that approach? Or you think he's just going to take it on himself like he did on Damn? Or you think he's going to integrate with the Griselda stuff? I mean, I think that would be a great move if he did a track with those guys.
Are we talking about a Nas track with Kendrick and a Thought track with Kendrick?
Yeah.
Specific? Or are we just talking in general? A Nas track with Kendrick would be great for both of them because I think both people want to hear it. And Nas has been at a place a long time ago where he's not going to try to prove anything. And I think Kendrick is the type of artist that is keenly aware of that. And they're going to craft a song together. Okay?
Yeah.
And so I look forward to that. Mike, listen to what I'm about to tell you. He better not do a song with Black Thought.
Nobody should do that.
No, because Black Thought is gonna test you. Like people understand getting a verse from Black. That's a test. That's a test, Mike. That ain't right. That ain't no verse. That's a test. It's like what type of MC are you really? Part of the reason why I like Benny so much, Mike, is because I never seen anybody spit a verse before I heard Thought come on, that where I listened to Thought's verse and it was like, oh, Thought heard him and had to come with his A game. That's how great Benny is on Crown for Kings. It's like Thought heard him and was like, oh, I'm going in the bag about this guy. And he probably, and what I mean when I heard it, he probably didn't know that Benny was nice like that. Mm-hmm. But he knows Kendrick is nice like that. He's going to walk in with all his tools in the bag. And when he gets to pulling his tools out, Mike, not even Nas or Rakim, Mike.
That's true.
Not even Nas
and it's funny you said that because...
And he's going to pull his tools out. So, I mean, be very, very careful about wanting to do a track with Black Thought, Kendrick.
It's funny.
I don't care what you think you like. Walking standard for bars, Mike.
I was just about to say exactly what you were going to say as far as, like, Nas and Rakim might be the best lyricists ever. But at the end of the day, they get on a feature with you. A lot of the times, like you said, they're going to craft something together with you. And they're not going to try to, like, destroy you. But I don't think there's anybody that bar for bar could out rap Black Thought.
I was about to say, Mike, when we're talking about,
I mean, to be perfectly honest, and that's Mike, on a underground level, mainstream level, whatever we're talking about.
Talking about Rakim and Nas being the greatest lyricists of all time,
right?
Instead of Black Thought. Here's specifically what we are talking about: Paid in Full, Follow the Leader,
right?
Illmatic. It was written. Thought hasn't made those projects,
right?
Correct.
Right.
That's the only thing, correct?
Right.
As far as the MCing, you and I are of the ilk and the train of thought that it's like, even if Rakim and Nas were to step the Thought, we're not picking them, are we?
Thought's the only person in this top 20, 25, whatever, just off skill alone, honestly.
We're not picking Nas against Thought. And no.
Yeah.
No, not now. Like in 96, yes. In 94, yes.
Yeah.
2001, yeah.
Every
right. year after that, no.
Now, are we saying? And I don't want anybody to misinterpret anything. Like, are we saying that Black Thought is out rapping the dude that's on Verbal Intercourse? No. But we're saying that he's out rapping the guy that's on Spicy. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike. He's out rapping the guy. Everything that pretty much Rakim did after the saga begins off the 18th letter, he's out rapping that guy. Everything that Nas did after Stillmatic, he's out rapping that guy.
You remember when Sway had Method Man, who's still very good, by the way, and Black Thought on the show at the same time, and they were doing that freestyle, and Method Man was reading from the phone, and it was
if there was ever, so people always look at Meth and be like, oh, how are you going to let him do you like that? It's like, okay, so understand this. No. This is the difference. What you saw with Method Man and Black Thought, that's the difference between being the first in the class and 10th in the class.
But, I don't want to beat up on Method Man because Method Man is great.
Hold on. Y'all know y'all talking about a nigga that, like, in a class of 2000 is, like, 10th? It's just he's standing next to the nigga that's in first.
Yeah, man.
So don't tell me that he got eaten up. No, just don't tell me that he got eaten up. It's like, no. He's still 10th in the class.
This is
the rest of them niggas. How about the rest of them niggas didn't even have no business walking in the room. At least he gets to walk in the room. At least he deserves to be there. You niggas don't even deserve to be there.
I agree with you. And this is what I was going to say. What I got from that session was the fact that this would have happened to anybody. This would have happened to Jadakiss. This would have happened. I hate to say it. This would have happened to Nas. This would have happened to Jay. It would have. Because what happens normally in situations like that, the MC who has something to lose just won't rap at all. We've seen that many times too. Where, like, I remember when Good Music went to a Flex show. Pusha T, I love him. But Sci-Hi was in his bag that day. Pusha T just did not get on the mic. Let him have it. And so, but see, the thing is, with Black Thought, him being the legend like that, you can't even play that game.
Of all the moves Pusha T has ever made, though, Mike, that was the move that I liked the least.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't love the move, but sometimes it is what it is.
You supposed to be no. The flow running. Hold on. When you say shit like
that's why I give Method Man props at least.
No, Mike, I rarely critique him, but when you say shit like the flow running on Big's heels and somebody like Sci-Hi showing out, oh no,
you got to show him, right?
Get on the mic. No, get on the mic, nigga.
I agree.
I watched KRS-One and like you ever heard the KRS-One comment freestyle?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell Common really wasn't like, but he. Nah, you got to.
You know what? Like, I think KRS-One is the only one that would probably sit there with Black Thought in that same position where Method Man was, and go right with him. Everybody else.
Hold on. You want to know what?
Because he thrives in that. You know.
Hold on. He has the same gift that Thought does, which is the ability to really freestyle, and to take the objects and the people around you and really go and make it sound phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give that. Like I heard KRS freestyle live in front of us like 20 minutes once, like nonstop. It's still some of the most epic shit I've ever seen, like in music, period. So he's like that.
Yeah.
How about this? When you're saying that, I brought up the KRS-One Common freestyle because KRS was still pretty active when he did that, and you could tell he was still pretty active and could give it to anybody. You think he can give it now? Like, does he spit like that regularly now? I'm not saying that as disrespect, because if he still spits regularly, then I'll say yes. But I'm
because I think that's his lane. Like,
that guy rap every day like he used to. Aren't they closer to 60 now, Mike?
I think KRS got to be about 55-ish. But, you know, again, he's shown...
Are you rhyming every day? Like, if you talking about KRS in 95, can he rhyme next to Thought right now? Like if that guy still exists, yeah. But, like...
But, you know, when he jumped on that Channel Live Madism, since we're talking about rewinding, he let people know, like, you know, there's a difference between dope MCs and KRS-One. Because Channel Live was dope. But he jumped on Madism.
He was the greatest MC of all time before Big Pac and Nas and Jay came along. He was number 2 behind Rakim in most people's eyes.
Before we get out of here, speaking of Big, did you see that Netflix Big documentary? I mean, we could have had a whole episode about that too.
Is there any new information I need to know about?
You know what? It was new information for me. And I mean, I've seen a million Big documentaries, but they really delved into his Jamaican background and his family, his father, you know, his mother, and her relationship with his father, his uncle, and they spoke to some of them. You know what I mean? He was going to Jamaica every year. Stuff that I didn't know. Like, I didn't know those things. Like, his mother said...
Give me a reason to watch. I don't know. I be feeling some type of way about it, you know?
I feel you. This focused more on family and more of his roots. You know what I'm saying?
I would prefer some of those things at this point, you know?
And, you know, and it's crazy because you think that, like you said, you've seen it all. But there's always more to know because not everybody in their documentary delves in on certain parts of it. And yeah, we got to know a little bit about his father and his mother's relationship with his father and how close he was with his uncle who was into music, who lived in Jamaica. And his mom made it a point that she would take him down to Jamaica once a year. And she said that he loved hanging with his uncle who was a musician, who took him around the parties. You could see his Jamaican influence on how he carried his rhymes. You know what I mean?
Oh, the melodies, Mike.
Yeah.
The melody definitely Jamaican inspired. Yeah. I'm going to check it out just because of all those things that you said. Just because how do I say this, like, without sounding crass? I'm just tired of everybody telling the same old stories.
No, I agree.
Like, about these guys, like, and here's how I felt. I remember, like, the last time I probably read XL magazine on a regular basis around the time when they started doing the, like, revisionist reviews. And I remember they talked about the making of Ready to Die. And that's when I stopped kind of watching documentaries about Big and Pac, because I can remember because they went and talked to the people that were really around when he was making it. Through reading that article, I got more of an accurate picture of how Ready to Die got made and who Big was and all those movies and all those documentaries. And it just made it seem so watered down to me. It's like I could go read XXL past their prime and they're doing a better job about telling me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they told the story about, like, you know, how Big was, like, how Preem didn't know that Big didn't write his rhymes, and how, like, hours it went by, Biggie went in the back and got some head from some chicks, and it's like, yo, Preem, you want some head? And he, like, you know, Preem's getting upset, like, no, nigga, I'm ready to go. And and Big's like, oh, I got the song finished. And he like, where? He like, oh, up here, nigga, let's go. You know, like shit like that. Like the movies and documentaries don't do that. And so when I get information like that from a major hip hop publication, it's like, man, fuck your movie.
No,
that's what I mean. We got to keep this shit in the streets and keep this shit in the culture, because it's like I get tired of seeing Lil' Kim and Faith be the center of fucking Biggie's story.
Well, they talked to Easy Mo B. Maddie C was on there, you know, and they talked to his friends, like people who grew up with him, and they had like the backstage footage and stuff, a lot of things that we hadn't seen. You know, I remember in like one of those documentaries you're talking about, I forgot which one it was, but they were talking to Maddie C. And Maddie C, for the people who don't know, he was over the unsigned hype for the Source magazine back in the day, which was very successful because they were the first people to highlight Big, first people to highlight Common, first people to really highlight Eminem, Mobb Deep, and these Eminem, are well before the deal.
Capone and Noriega
right,
too.
Right,
put
right.
A lot of on.
So Puff came to Maddie C on some, you know, what you got for me type thing. He's like, you know, and this was just off of demo tape. This was before Party and Bullshit, all that. So, long story short, I didn't hear until years later when Maddie C was talking about, you know, those bars on Victory, when he said, you know, Maddie broke the neck of your Coke Connect. And I just thought, like, wow, that's what that means. He was talking about how Maddie C basically saved his life from selling dope. It's amazing. Like, damn, nigga. Like, who? That line was for Maddie C alone. Nobody would have got that. Or his friends. Huh?
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, man. He was like, Maddie broke the neck of your Coke Connect.
Man. Is there anybody in like the history of music maybe we would have liked to heard more material from, just to see what they was gonna do with it?
And you know, I know a lot of people feel like Big gets held too high for having such limited amount of material, but I mean, man,
that's part of the juxtaposition that people don't understand.
Yeah.
It should forever be that way, so that you understand that this guy was so great and so phenomenal that the brevity of his material still places him in an echelon with people that have literally quadrupled, quintupled his catalog.
I don't think there's anybody who's done more with 2 efforts in music than Big that I think of.
No,
but I'm not saying that, you know, he has a spot and can never be removed from it. I don't believe in that. But I will say this, we do got to put in proper context everything he did, too, and not just look at it like, oh, he got 2 albums, he's out of this conversation. Who's done more with 2 albums than Big? And if you think about some of your favorite artists, if you cut them off after their second effort, do they have the records that have had the legs that Big's records have? Because there's like 20 Big songs, whether it's his songs or songs that he's on, that we would hear forever. Yeah.
Ooh.
Big could have a versus right now, a legit one with 2 albums.
No, you can have legit verses right now.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. So here's what it is for me personally and how I really remember him. Since the MC year that he had in 1997, which was the year that he passed, like that year, I don't think any MC since 1997 can honestly say they had a year where MC-wise, hit record-wise, and just overall, it was better than Big's. His last in memory might be his best one. I tell people and I'm not joking when I say this, and it's taken me a long time to get to this point. Life After Death might be the best performance on the mic by an MC ever.
And why do you feel that way exactly? Is it the versatility?
Right, because you want to know what? Because Rakim, Nas, and Jay can't make You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. They can't make My Downfall, but he can make records that sound like theirs.
Those are Scarface records. Those are records Scarface can make.
He can make all of Jay's records, for one, okay? And so when lyrically he goes to a place where he's doing some of the stuff that he is doing on Notorious Thugs.
Right.
He is doing some of the stuff that he is doing on Kicking the Door. When he is telling stories that he is telling on Niggas Bleed, it's like, oh, well, shit. Well, you right there with Nas and Rakim lyrically, too. They can't make a hit record like you can, and they can't make a chilling song like you can.
Yeah, man. When you sound that great on More Money, More Problems and the same... Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I've never heard him sound uncomfortable on a record. Have you ever heard Big sound uncomfortable on a record?
No, he sounds just as good on I Love the Dough and Hypnotize and More Money, More Problems as he does on My Downfall and You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You and Long Kiss Goodnight. Like, it's incredible.
It is
incredible.
Because we talk about Scarface all the time being like a one-of-one.
Hard against the MC.
Yeah. Like, Scarface is a one-of-one in doing what he does, right? Like, he makes... No one could make... You never seen a man cry till I seen that man die. But Big might be able to.
You want to know what, Mike? It's funny. When you brought up Scarface, I actually thought to myself... Yeah. You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You is probably the closest thing to I Never Seen a Man Die.
It is. It's chilling.
It is. It's the only song that probably even deserves to be mentioned in the same breath with it. And if another song deserves to be mentioned in the same breath with it, Mike, it's My Downfall.
Yeah. And the fact that he could do that and he could
so you could do the Nas shit, you can do the J shit, you can do the Face shit. That sounds like the best performance on the mic in the history of rap, don't it?
He sounds like the most skilled MC of all time. And I will say that. He's the most talented MC I've ever heard.
The most skilled MC ever. He's like, you want to know what? Do you need some classic hit records they're going to play for the next 20 years? I got you. Yeah. Do you need some classic street shit they're going to play for the next 20 years? I got you. You need some classic hip-hop stories? I got you. You want some prophecy about my fucking death? I got you.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, man? Like, you know, because on the documentary, too, man. On the documentary, he was talking about how Puff would come with crazy ideas and be like, yo, we're going to take this Diana Ross, I'm Coming Out, and we're going to flip it. But the fact that he was able to adjust to all of that and still sound great on everything, not everybody could have done that. If you would have given those records to some of his great peers, it would have been like,
hold on.
It would have sounded like Nostradamus.
No. It would sound like it was written in volume 1. That's very shady that you said Nostradamus. That's disrespectful, but that's what I was about to say.
Escobar. I don't want to get a copyright situation trying to sing that
very
song.
That you just did that. No, Mike, the missteps on volume 1 and It Was Written are kind of like
I'm trying to be big.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you hear them trying to do what he does, it's like, oh, well, you're just not as good as that. Go sit your ass down and let Big do that.
I mean, really, let's keep it real, man. Could any of his peers make one more chance?
Interest you in Street Dreams and I Know What Girls Like in the City Is Mine or Sunshine or If I Ruled the World. Like they were.
Yeah.
That's the big effect. That's the big effect.
Yeah. Could any of his peers have made One More Chance, the remix? In the way that he did.
Negative.
No. That first verse, and I think sometimes, you know, you get lost in the fact that this nigga's really spitting because these records are so big. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even like Hypnotize. I never was a fan of that record. But if you're sitting here rapping along with it, you're like, yo, this nigga is spitting.
That's what I mean. Like,
it's crazy.
You have to like Hypnotize. Biggie spit game crazy on
it's
Hypnotize.
Crazy.
I know you sick of this lame brand nigga with flows. Girls say he's sweet like licorice. So get with this. Nigga, it's easy.
Girlfriend, here's a pen. Call me round 10.
Come through,
have sex.
Persian. Come up to your job, hit you while you... Yo, that nigga fly. He the flyest nigga.
And I don't even like that record. But the man is killing it.
That record great. I like Hypnotized more than I like Big Papa.
I don't. But I feel you. Like,
he's spitting on Big Papa some shit. He's spitting on Hypnotized, nigga.
Man, we're going on 2 hours, man. We're gonna get up out of here, but no, go watch that documentary, and everybody who's watching too, man, go watch that.
I never gave my Drake prediction. I think Drake's album is gonna sound better than you think that it's gonna sound.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good project, not a great project, but a project that we will look at when we look at his career and be like, that was the best album that he made in that 5 to 7 year period.
Okay.
The next album sound like that. So I'm pretty much saying like everything that he's made since Back to Back is going to kind of be forgotten, and this project is going to be the project that helps people forget that. Because we kind of started with Drake, we're going to kind of end it there.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to more new music. Benny's dropping on the 19th. That's right around the corner. Obviously, it's going to be some more Griselda coming. And you know what? We got the yearbook for sale now. 2020 yearbook. We're going to be doing a lot more press on that. We thought that the year 2020 needed to be capsulated. And go on Amazon. The link is in the thread. Great show. Black women are dope. Dope hoodie I got here. I'm gonna get you one.
I need one of those. My man who's on his grind and always on the move. Like, I dropped the copy off to him. He asked me to get him one and shoot it down to him. And we just chopped it up. It was really like refreshing just seeing his face. Like, fam is always so busy. He don't really keep up. And I just remember sitting down and chilling with him for a minute while he was flipping through the magazine. And he was like, yo, Coop, he was like, y'all got everybody. Y'all got this shit covered. Like, he's like, y'all niggas moving. I love y'all. You know, he was like, you know, and here's the thing. Like, he was, and this is what I mean. He was like, I know you do the podcast. He's like, yo, start texting me before the podcast, fam. He was like, I want to keep up. He was like, I'm going to cop the magazine. He was like, but I need to keep up with y'all niggas. He was like, y'all niggas doing y'all thing and keeping up. You know?
And, you know, if you miss the show, you know, you can always go on YouTube. And
on my off day.
Yeah. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and all that. And, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, for the people who've missed that whole year in hip-hop, I think 2020 was an incredible year. We were able to put it in one package, one book. Andre Shashir, shout out to you. He said he's buying it right now, and you said you need this hoodie. We got you on the hoodie too, man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say, matter of fact, my man that bought me the magazine, he blessed me with this jumpsuit. He had an extra jumpsuit that didn't fit him, and he was like, "Yo, Coop," he's like, "I got a Nike jumpsuit in the trunk." I'm like, "That's typical of this nigga."
That's love.
I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead and run that." I'm like, "Go ahead and run that. That's cool."
Hey, yeah, we'll get the link for the Black Women Are Dope hoodies too. So, yeah. More new music hopefully next week. I think Andre was saying that Conway's supposed to be dropping next week.
Who?
Conway's supposed to be dropping next week. That's what Andre Shashir said.
Oh, really? The
next
guy don't make mistake shit is dropping next week? I want the link to Dana's shit.
Okay.
Black women are dope and need to be appreciated and treated as such.
Definitely. And, you know, we'll get that link out there. Terrence Summers said, y'all got t-shirts? Yeah, I mean, go on accordingtohiphop.com and go to the pop-up shop link and you check it out.
Benny ain't the only one with plugs, fam.
All right, man. I will holler at you next week, and definitely we should be getting some new music. Hopefully it's Conway. Hopefully it's somebody, but, you know, it's what it is. Subscribe to the YouTube page, and we're going to holler at you.